All right, ladies and gents. So we're gonna jump ahead a little bit, and I wanted to just kind of get this guy. Do I still have the map open? I do. Okay, so I basically exported these little columns out, and for whatever reason, I want to have them be just brick. And we're setting this up with the anticipation that we're going to be using a bunch of stuff in VR. And again, sorry, I'm not showing you guys my little VR setup. My room's a mess, and I'm not going to do it because I have to clean up my shit. So I'm not going to do that. But basically, this is sculpted the exact same way as everything else. Um, Ran Dynamesh on it and decimated it down. But we're going to hop into Substance, and I know we haven't talked too much about Substance up to this point yet. I want to touch base on Substance Designer, and I want to show you guys off of just one asset because Substance is super powerful. And I've said this throughout the demo, but I'll say it again. Quixel is more of like kind of an individual asset kind of thing, and the scans are fantastic. Like Quixel has really, really good scans, and it has really good roughness and all the other game stuff that we need. But I wanted to show you guys um, this little workflow that I do. And like most things, I'm going to be dragging and pulling stuff from other windows. So let me just kind of come over here to the desktop here in my awesome organizational structure, as always. So I'm going to drag in this huge little guy here. Well, he's not little, but he's fairly big, but should be fine. Now, we're going to link the materials up here. Let me just go ahead and do that right now. Make sure I exported everything unnulled. I did, and I put them in the correct directory. Look at David go. Let me just kind of jump over here. Rips, we are in wall pillar A. And let's just export that. And we're going to be sending out the TGAs again for this, and here they are. They're over here. Okay. Jump back into Substance. Now, we're going to be pulling from kind of like our, we're going to basically be using a bunch of different things here. So let's go ahead and start pulling this stuff in. Let's go ahead and grab the normal map. We can link that. There's our little dude here. And I can just drop this on this guy. All right, and we can view that in 3D as a normal map. Now again, to do this, so this is not going to be a super intro to Substance Designer. I use Substance quite a bit at work, but I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a Substance master, and definitely probably not the best at teaching it, because most of what I do is just literally fuck around in the program until I get something that I like. If you want a really good tutorial, Hugo Boehner will be full of stuff. Do a little Valve promo here. Up on Steam, there's a bunch of guys who have been doing some really awesome stuff, and one of which is our badass friend here. He's done, obviously he's done a bunch of really cool shit. So this is Hugo's stuff, and it's really, really good. You can check it out. I wonder why his name isn't on here. Hopefully I'm not showing anything from that I shouldn't be. Huh, nope. Okay. I just want to make sure I have my developer login up. But it's really cool, man. He's going to go into a bunch of stuff. And so check out his stuff. Really awesome stuff. Substance is used on a bunch of different productions. Blah, 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 blah. Really powerful program. You all know this. Okay, so actually I'm going to also output this as a different format as I'm talking. So one of the reasons why we haven't used Substance, one of the many reasons why we haven't used Substance on a bunch of the stuff in our project, is that Substance, and you're going to see this is why I'm going to be demoing this live, is Substance is very powerful. Set that up for floating point. But it's a little in-depth, okay? And in-depth is not a bad thing. It's just if we're doing, just a simple little space here like we got for our thing, where we have a few assets, but we don't have a ton. I still kind of think going the traditional route is faster. Now, where Substance's speed comes in is really kind of a multiplicative effect when we are doing a bunch of things back to back to back, or we have to do a bunch of similar tasks. It's really great to do that. All right, link that. Pull in the occlusion. Now, again, I baked all this stuff in nulled for a bunch of different reasons. I like nulled a lot, and it's way faster than the baker inside of here. But you know, use what you're comfortable with. It does not matter. Like straight up, it doesn't matter. You pick whatever the hell works for you. So now for this pillar, let me actually grab one more thing. Actually, we are gonna bake something in here really quick. Let me just jump over into here. Where are you? Import. No, 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 no. Compute output. Let me see this really. Let me just grab our little dude over here. I'm actually gonna put him back into the correct folder. So I'm sorry, I'm jumping around on this on the left screen here that you can't see. I'm just gonna go ahead and path this guy into the correct spot. Wall. Pillar. Hey, okay. Just gonna link this guy as well. Just link him in. Oop. There he is. Okay. Bake model information. Okay, so we're gonna need to get a couple different things here. We're gonna need to get a position mesh, world space mesh. We only need one of those, but we gotta link some high res information in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go from file, and I have this big boy here. I don't need the ambient occlusion, but now that should be fine. UV1. Okay, resource name. Pull from that. That's good. All right. And I'm sure I'm missing a step, so I'm going to fire this off and see what I screwed up. I screwed up. I said world space direction. We need world space normal. And we'll link from our existing normal map that we have there from resource. Okay, and then we should refire that off and it should be fine. So as this thing's kind of chugging along, and it takes a little bit of time, so if this isn't finished by the time I'm done talking, I'm going to pause it. But basically, we're going to get a position map, and then we need the world space map, so we can kind of get some directionality in our textures, so when we use some of the generators, it has some information that we need. With Substance, I had the exact same approach to pretty much everything I do. I try to keep it as simple as humanly possible. And honestly, like, it's kind of hard, right? Like, I know you see a lot of really cool stuff all the time and on Facebook, and you see, or on different polycount threads and all that stuff. I still do not fundamentally believe there's anything wrong with going back and hand tweaking a texture if you need to. So we're going to do a bunch of stuff now, and if we need to, we'll jump back into Photoshop. Whatever makes our life easier, basically, is what we're after. Okay, so let's start off. Since we have the height information, we don't really need to deal with that too much. We're going to be focusing primarily on starting off just our base color here. And let's get started. So let's go ahead and look for, we got all of our cellulars. Let's get some grunge going. Okay. We're going to pull up a gradient map here. Pull up a gradient map. Okay, and we're going to plug our output of our gradient map into our input, our gradient map into our gradient, our grunge map into our gradient. You know what I mean. I'm going to pull up some textures here. So this is a brick wall. I'm just going to go stone on Google. And let's just start off with something simple. Okay, so I like the colors of this guy, even though I'm sure I'm totally infringing on like a million copyright laws, but that's fine. Everyone's cool with that. Don't worry about it. Oh, actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if I'm infringing on any copyright laws. Yeah, I'm sure the lawyers are gonna love me. All right, let's see here. Let's try and find something. More search tool size large. And whoever this is on DeviantArt, thank you. We are going to be using this as a color reference. So I'm going to put this window over here to the side, but before I do that, I want to show you guys something. So under these gradient ramps, we have this gradient editor. Now obviously we can pick a color off the grayscale, and these little sliders, and that's cool, but that isn't what we want. We want this pick gradient tool, okay? And as I have that selected, I'm going to jump over to this window. This is going to pop up, and it's not. Move it over here. And I can literally drag a line, a black line, and you can see I get a bunch of colors. Okay, pretty cool. So we'll close that down. Now, let's look at this guy. It's not that hot. That's okay. It will be eventually. Okay, so let's jump back here and look at this guy. We had a bunch of streaks, got a bunch of streaks on this. Cool. And the way I like to think of substance is just kind of the way you think about stuff in Unreal. Really simple kind of math chains. So instead of multiplies, we have blends. So we're going to go ahead and grab a blend node here, add node, blend. And we're going to take our background, which is going to be this guy. This is like our base kind of texture dude. And then we're going to throw our foreground texture on top of this. And under a blending mode, we'll jump over to multiply. Okay, now you might see this line that happens from time to time. This is kind of stupid when it does this, but let's go ahead and adjust why that's happening. Oh. All right, let me just go ahead. And this is happening because it can't take a color node. So let me just see here. I can sometimes get this to do it on the reverse and see if it's going to do it. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, and easy way to fix that is to just kind of come into here, add a node, and we can run a gradient map through that, and that should fix it. Okay, and then we'll jump down and see the output in here in the blend. It's just a straight multiply, and I'm going to just pipe this in here into the base color. And again, I know in Unreal we're not going to do this. We would actually go in and just literally have this AO that I'm multing on top of this as a separate pass. Actually, we could do that too. Let me just, I believe we can. Let me double check this here. Give me it. Stop duplicating the wrong things. Is that a component? No, come on. Give me this. Oh, Control D. Damn it, David. It's always something. Let's change this format to occlusion, specular, transmission, refraction, scattering. I know it's in here. Am I just insane? Ambient occlusion. Ta-da. So we actually bypass this. And we'll do this view in 3D as ambient occlusion. Okay, same exact thing. This is just going to kind of mimic the shader a little better. Okay, so let's keep layering this guy up. This actually is starting to look kind of cool. And the nice thing, again, about this being a fractal is we can do whatever the hell we want to it, and it's going to work. So let's go ahead, and again, our scene's kind of, destroyed kind of building, so let's add some grime onto this. Okay, we got this, and let's go ahead and grab another node. Where is it? Directional warp. Let's go ahead. There we go. Let's drive that input through there. And we'll grab a blur. I like to use the high quality blurs as much as I can. They look really nice. And let's go ahead and grab a levels on this guy. I keep thinking I'm in Unreal. Okay, and I believe, yeah, I'm just going to pull up the black levels a little bit. Let's try and clamp those guys down. There we go, somewhere around there. Okay. And then we'll grab a slope, blur, grayscale. And again, I know these nodes look really kind of crazy right now, and they are going to get crazy. It's a node-based system, so yeah, it is what it is. I know it does suck though. Like, I wish I had a better thing to say other than yeah, it does kind of suck, but it does. It gets super messy and it's kind of a pain in the ass to look at. So we're gonna pull this guy in here, and let's just go ahead and take this down, like probably something like that. Let's decrease the sample somewhere around there. Let's just see what this looks like. Okay, and again, same exact thing. We're just going to come in here and we're going to grab a gradient map, or we can just copy and paste it, save some time. Gradient editor, and let's go back and find, let's do search for mold. And I know there's a mold node in here. We'll use it. Don't you worry your precious little hearts. Gradient. Let's just look for more stone. I know it's not exciting because I'm looking at another monitor, but otherwise you'd have to watch me like select a million colors, and that would be hella boring. Okay, cool. And let's say close that down. Let's come back into our levels here. And I'm going to take these two, actually I'm going to take this guy, the slope blur, and this, the actual instance node here, not the levels, Jesus. This and this, holding Control, Control C, Control V for copy, paste. And I'm just going to rewarp that, and I don't want that to be a grayscale actually. Thank you, Bob. Oh, it's slope grayscale, son of a bitch. Of course it's going to do that. Slope blur. Doop doop. Doop doop. Alright, and let's go ahead and do the min. Let's see what max does. Let's take the highs. That blur's fine. Increase the samples, and we are really going to take this down. Something around there. And let's go ahead and get a blend node on this guy. This is pretty much my entire workflow, is literally just adding a bunch of stuff and seeing what it looks like. It's not particularly great, but it works. And our background color is going to be our base little dude that we just keep driving from. And we'll go ahead and drop our foreground guy on there. And let's come back into our generators. Let's get a grunge map. Okay. And now, actually, we'll just drop a levels in front of this as well. Just right-clicking again for this to pull this guy up, levels. And if I double-click on this, I can go back into this node and start kind of playing with stuff, so I'm not working in the dark here. And you can see the adjustments happening on the mask as well as I'm doing this kind of back and forth. And maybe we need let's grab a tile node. For transform. Tiling should work. Let's see. This might be overkill, but let's find out. Oop, we want the color. Oh, right. Pattern size. Let's increase this. Come on. 500. Okay, that'll take the size. And we'll just path that back into here. We can see this update as well. Okay, and on the blend mode, let's change this back down to, let's kind of scrub through this guys a little bit. I'm just looking for some color right now. I'm not looking for anything too crazy. Okay. Again, we can adjust the opacity of that so we don't have to have it full bore. Let's go ahead and, again, as always, look this kind of new chain back in so we can see it. It's a little bit of color here. Cool. And maybe we increase the opacity so we can see it a little bit. Okay, just giving us a little bit of color. Yeah, it's definitely in there. But we got a bunch of like other effects on top of this because we're doing the specular roughness model. So up until we get down to that chain, this thing's going to be kind of a pain in the ass to look at. And we're actually going to be losing a lot of surface properties because the roughness drives so much information, like that metallic inputs and all of that. So keep all of that in mind. Okay. Now let's go down to generator really quick. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? Let's get some weathering going in here. And we'll change this color eventually, but this could be a decent input for us. So let's go ahead and look at this really quick. Base color or diffuse, I guess, doesn't really matter. False. You know, we'll just turn all. We're just going to focus on the color for right now. So turn this all off. We don't need any of this. We'll make this all ourselves. We're going to be badasses. No, it's okay. Now, this node, this position node. Look at this. We have that right here. Hey. Okay. And let's go ahead and look at this. And rust spreading. Let's go ahead and increase that. Wait a minute. Why are you not doing what you're supposed to? That's position map. Fine. Let's just go ahead and fill in all the nodes because it needs the rest of them. Occlusion, and we'll pull in our curvature as well. And we're going to save this throughout the entire thing, just so. All right, let's just see here how much of this we can see. There it goes. It happens quickly. You kind of have to like, be gentle with it. Is it going to give me any control of the color? Of course not. That's okay.